movie like review. B-movie like review.
Hey, this is B-Movie Mike, and this week, in honor of Valentine's Day, I'll be reviewing the original My Bloody Valentine and its remake, My Bloody Valentine 3D. Up first is the original from 1981, My Bloody Valentine. My Bloody Valentine was directed by George Mihalka and stars Laurie Hallier, Paul Kellman, and Neil Affleck. The story of My Bloody Valentine takes place in a small mining town called Valentine Bluffs. It's Valentine's Day, and everybody that works at the mine is excited about the annual Valentine's Day dance. Several mine supervisors decide to take off early so they can get ready for the dance, but in doing so, they don't check the methane levels and they leave a bunch of miners down in the mine. An explosion occurs and several miners are trapped in the mine. By the time the rescue crew gets to them, there's only one miner left alive, and his name is Harry Warden. 1 year later, Harry Warden returns to exact his revenge on those that he deems responsible for the mining accident. After Harry's brutal rampage, the town vows to never have another Valentine's Day dance out of fear that it would cause Harry to return and kill again. The story moves ahead 20 years, and the mayor of Valentine's Bluff decides that it's about time that they have another Valentine's Day dance. After all, it's been 20 years, and Harry Warden's nothing more than just a bad memory. As the citizens of Valentine's Bluff are excitedly preparing for the Valentine's dance, the lady in charge of the decorating committee is found murdered, and soon the sheriff begins to receive heart-shaped candy boxes that contain real human hearts. This convinces the sheriff and the mayor that Harry Warden is back, and the only thing they can do to stop the carnage is to cancel the Valentine's dance. This decision doesn't sit well with some of the miners, who decide to take their girlfriends down into the mine and have a party anyway. Unfortunately for them, somebody who appears to be Harry Warden shows up and begins to kill them off one by one. My Bloody Valentine is well directed and suspenseful. The writing for My Bloody Valentine is above average, and it contains good characters and some good dialogue. And the acting in My Bloody Valentine is also above average, which is surprising considering that there's no real star attached to this film. Most of these films like Prom Night and Terror Train all have a named star, but the cast of My Bloody Valentine is primarily made up of unknown Canadian actors, and I think they do a great job of bringing their characters to life. Another thing that My Bloody Valentine gets right is the makeup effects. Unfortunately, at the time of its release, the MPAA butchered this movie, but now thanks to its special edition, you get to see all of the gooey, gory goodness in all its glory. Even though the added scenes don't quite match up with the original film, they still look a lot better than your modern CGI crapfest. But if there's anyone out there that disagrees with me on this point, the Blu-ray special edition of My Bloody Valentine also contains the original theatrical cut. My Bloody Valentine is firmly entrenched in my top 10 list of favorite slasher films of all time, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Now, as promised, up next is my review of the 2009 remake of My Bloody Valentine called My Bloody Valentine 3D. My Bloody Valentine 3D was directed by Patrick Lussier and stars Jensen Ackles, Kerr Smith, Jamie King, and Jean Rivette Tom Atkins. My Bloody Valentine 3D shares the same story with the original My Bloody Valentine film, except they took a few liberties with the storyline and the character motivations that I didn't really appreciate. Now, it didn't bother me that they changed the name of the town, but the time period between the original disaster and the modern killings is only 10 years instead of 20, and they kind of did a bit of a Rob Zombie makeover on the characters in the film. And in doing so, they took a bunch of adult characters that were actually likable in the first film and turned them into a bunch of whiny emo freaks that you could just care less about. And to add insult to injury, there's a bunch of CGI blood that just looks cartoony and fake, and that was a huge disappointment. That being said, My Bloody Valentine 3D is one of the better remakes that we've had crammed down our throats in the past 10 years. On the positive side, they did capture the look and feel of the Harry Warden character rather well, and when they do use practical effects in this movie, they look pretty cool. My Bloody Valentine 3D is gorier, more violent, and has a lot more nudity in it than the original. Now, the main selling point of this remake was obviously its use of 3D. Now, I didn't get to see it in the theater, so I don't know how successful it was at providing a 3D experience, but the home 3D experience is what you would expect. It's not the red and blue, it's more of a green and magenta, but it still blurs and it's not very sharp, and it's just not a very good experience. My Bloody Valentine was well directed, features some nice camera work and some decent acting, but the writing is this film's Achilles heel. It's really weak, and the liberties they take with the original story and characters really bring this film down a notch from what it could have been. Overall, My Bloody Valentine 3D is not bad for a remake, but not as good as the original. There's just too many changes to the story, and the CGI blood just takes away from it. Other than that, it's not a bad film. As far as recommendations go, if you're a fan of the original film and a fan of modern day slashers, I can definitely recommend that you check out My Bloody Valentine 3D. Well, this concludes my review of My Bloody Valentine and My Bloody Valentine 3D. I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day, and as always, please check out all the awesome YouTube channels located down there in my More Channels of Movie Madness box, and I'll be back next week with another review. Thanks for watching.